Make y'all think I work.
Webinar is now streaming live on Facebook.
Yes, let's get this party started.
Let's get this party started. That's right. I think we met 2004 with your
Ooh,
chicken soup for the soul,
ooh,
African
chicken
American
for
soul.
the African American soul. Yes, that's where when I first met my good friend, my old friend now, Joe Dudley.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, he was on your stage. Joe Dudley told his story. I was so inspired.
yeah.
And
He's a credible man. I see him quite frequently. I'm down that way quite a bit.
yeah, yeah, I've been out there many times training his sales team and doing things with them. And we've done a lot together since then. So thank you for that introduction.
Yeah. Brother Bedford is our moderator. I'm the host. He's going to introduce both of us. I'm going to have some comments after that and about you, and then we're going to get right into it.
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
ready.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stimulate you with your own quotes. I mean, you got some awesome quotes on the internet, babe.
Amen. Amen.
So I'm
I'm
gonna have you
grateful.
unpack a couple of them because they just need
Okay.
unpacking.
Well, I love the no rehearsal, the no dress rehearsal needed for
No,
life.
it's just
So you just
organic,
come with it.
live, we
You
roll.
come with it.
Right? This is
You
how
come
you
with
do.
Yeah,
This is what
it's
you
the
do.
best stuff. Organic.
No script,
All
right? Just
natural.
organic and roll.
Yes, yes.
All right, let's go ahead and see if everybody's tuning in with us. Hey, everybody, welcome this evening to our Power Podcast live stream. It's so great to be with you all. Of course, I am Brother Bedford, your co-host slash moderator, and I'm going to turn you over to our main host in just a few moments. I just want to take care of a few housekeeping duties. We want to make sure that everyone can hear us. We want you to tell us where you're from, if you can see us, if you can hear us. And then more importantly, follow the page so that you'll get all of the notifications for all of the future live casts, live podcasts that we have coming up with some giants in the industry. I mean, you've seen we've already started off with Dr. George C. Fraser Tuesday, and now look at what we're getting ready to follow up with now, the one and only Lisa Nichols. And so make sure you share right now, share it to all of your friends, invite them to the pages, invite them to your pages, and let's go ahead and create the excitement that we said we wanted to create at the very beginning. And that is to make sure that we're taking all of the information that we're getting in these podcasts and turn this period into our incubation period. I know it's a quarantine, but we want to turn the quarantine into an incubation period where we can take everything we're learning throughout these series of these podcasts. And then when this is over, we come out stronger, we come out better, we come out faster, we come out stronger, and then we're ready to take on the next level of what God has for us. So with that said, again, make sure you're sharing this page. And what I want to do to make sure that we realize the magnitude and the caliber of the individuals who are coming before us, I want to make sure that I give the proper due. And I want to share with you just some of their accomplishments. Again, if we shared all of their accomplishments, we wouldn't have enough time to finish this podcast. So I just want to go over a few things as you're sharing this podcast right now. Again, I want to repeat that. Make sure you're sharing right now, because once we get started, we don't want to keep you long, but we definitely want to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered and that we have enough time for you to be well fed. So with that said, while you're sharing, let me go ahead and tell you who we have with us tonight. Again, the one and only Dr. George C. Fraser. He's the chairman and CEO of FraserNet Inc. Now, this is a company that he founded over 32 years ago with his partner. And this was to lead a global networking and economic development movement for people of African descent. Now, he was born in Brooklyn, New York, so you know he's gangster. He was an orphan and a foster child for 15 years. And I'm sure maybe he'll touch on that, but it's a marvelous story. He spent 20 years in leadership positions at Procter & Gamble, United Way, and Ford Motor Company before starting his own business, which is FraserNet Inc. And he started that in 1987. He has written 6 best-selling books, Success Runs in Our Race, Click, and the most recent book was Mission Unstoppable, Extraordinary Stories of Failure's Blessings. Now, that's a book that he co-authored with Les Brown, and Les Brown will be with us Tuesday. So make sure that you let everybody know that Les will be here Tuesday. We got Lisa Nichols tonight, so they need to get on right now. Now, Upscale Magazine, they named George one of the top 50 power brokers in Black America. He's really number one, to be honest. And that's what Black Enterprise said, that he was Black America's #1 networker when they featured him on the cover. Now, he's been featured on over 7 national magazine covers. He's received over 350 awards. His citations include introduction into the Minority Business Hall of Fame and Museum, 3 honorary doctorate degrees, a chaplaincy, an ambassadorship, and he's a certified financial educational instructor and has his insurance license. He has been named one of the best speakers in America, and 5 of his speeches have been selected for global distribution by the prestigious Vital Speeches of the Day magazine. That's a first for any professional speaker in America. In 2016, President Obama awarded him the President's Lifetime Achievement Award. He is most proud of his 2 charter schools that he helped founded in Cleveland, Ohio, nearly 15 years ago, which educates nearly 300 inner city Black children, of which 60% are boys. So he not only talks this, he lives this. Now, as an elder, Dr. Fraser will now use his massive network, his influence to launch a new virtual nation with no borders, boundaries, and barriers, and that's called Fraser Nation. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about that a little later on. This is Citizens of Generational Wealth. Now, the goal is to mobilize and unify people of African descent around the world to help them with effective networking, business development, training, and coaching. He will also join the fight for financial literacy in Black America. He's already joined that fight. That's like he would. He's already joined it. And here's what he's done. He's launched an organization called WINS. That's Wealth Building Centers and Curriculum. And over the next decade, thousands of new and well-equipped faith-based WINS centers will be open free of charge to all of those who want to teach and learn the basics of wealth creation and management. Over 1 million Black people and allies will be citizens of Fraser Nation. Now, let me go right into Lisa Nichols. She is one of the world's most requested motivational speakers, as well as a media personality and corporate CEO whose global platform has reached nearly 80 million people. I'm gonna say that one again, 80 million people. From a struggling mom, single mom on public assistance, to a millionaire entrepreneur, Lisa's courage and determination has inspired fans worldwide and helped countless audiences break through to discover their own untapped talents and infinite potential. As founder and chief executive officer of Motivating the Masses, Lisa has developed workshops and programs that have transformed the lives of countless men and women and altered the trajectory of businesses throughout the country and across the world. Lisa is also a best-selling author of 6 books, and her 7th book, Abundance Now, was published in 2016 by HarperCollins. Now, in Abundance Now, Lisa continues her journey with her fans, providing a clear and practical blueprint for personal success. Now, this is drawn directly from the life experiences of Lisa Nichols. Abundance Now is the follow-up to Lisa's New York Times bestseller, No Matter What. Lisa's extraordinary story of transforming her own life from public assistance for her family to leading a multi-million-dollar enterprise is the inspiration behind her bold mission to teach others that it is possible that each and every one of us can do the same. Today, fans worldwide revere Lisa for her mastery of teaching people how to accomplish unfathomable goals and tap their unlimitless potential. A noted media personality who has appeared on Oprah, The Today Show, Dr. Phil, The Steve Harvey Show, and Extra, and that's just to name a few. Lisa has been celebrated for the impact she has on the lives of teens as well. Through Lisa's nonprofit foundation, Motivating the Teen Spirit, she has touched the lives of over 270,000 teens. She's prevented over 3,800 teen suicides, supported 2,500 dropouts in returning to school, and has helped thousands reunite with their family. Now, among the prestigious awards and honors bestowed upon Lisa for her extensive work are the Humanitarian Award from the country of South Africa, the Ambassador Award, and the Lego Foundation's Heart of Learning Award. The city of Henderson, Nevada named November 20th as Motivating the Teen Spirit Day. The city of San Diego named April 25th, Motivating the Masses Day. and the city of Houston, Texas, named May 9th as Lisa Nichols Day for her dedication to service, philanthropy, and healing. Lisa lives, plays, and works in the greater San Diego, California area and on stages around the world, working alongside her world-class team that's committed to motivating the masses. And without further ado, I'm going to turn you over to our host for this evening, Dr. George C. Fraser.
Hey! If I could, I would get up and do a happy dance. But I don't want to look too foolish, because I'm probably going to look foolish as I fawn over Lisa Nichols. We go back a ways, right? And I have extraordinarily fond memories of Lisa. In fact, Lisa holds the record for females speaking the most number of times at the Power Networking Conference, where she turned it out. She turned it out. I mean, she just has it like that.
I'm grateful.
I met Lisa in 2004 when she was one of the main people focused in Chicken Soup for the African American Soul, which was a New York Times bestseller as well. And she called me and was just seeking some advice on things that she could do, because this was the first book that a significant book that she was part of. And, I did what I do. I just poured into her, gave her what information I had. I had already published by that time, Success Runs in Our Race, and it had also become a big bestseller. And she was just seeking, like all smart people, they try to call people that can help them with what they're doing, especially if they have already done it. That's just a really smart thing to do. And we fell in love from that moment on. And I mean that metaphorically. And in a sense, literally too, because love is expressed in many different ways. We have remained close friends, good friends for all these years. So 2004, it's 2020, that's about 16 years, at least about 16 years. And she just continues to produce. And she has a global reputation. Lisa speaks in front of more people in a single day than I probably speak in front of an entire year, right? But she just has it like that, right? How about just one appearance on Oprah would be equivalent to the total audience that I have spoken to in 40 years.
Stop.
Right? And then, of course, she knows how to handle Oprah, right? So she brings the best out in Oprah, as Oprah is so skillfully talented in bringing the best out in Lisa. There are 1,000 questions I could ask Lisa. We could do this for 2 or 3 hours. Lisa could do it by herself. Lisa actually could give a monologue.
It's so much more fun with my friends.
Right?
No, it's so much more fun. Before you go into any questions, I have to say this though. First, thank you for having me. Thank you for always having me. Thank you for your trust in me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your sacrifice that we don't even see. What I don't know if you know, but when I called you in 2004, I was scared. Jaylani was like 5. I felt like Chicken Soup for the African American Soul was my opportunity, and I needed to seize it. And I heard about this man who was just trailblazing and helping Black people. I was like, I qualify. I called, and you generously gave me your flyer for your tour. I'll never forget this. I talk about you. Your ears should burn all the time. You gave me your flyer and you showed me how you did your tour. I took that flyer, Georgia, if I told you how many hours I stared at that flyer trying to figure out how will I do my version of that.
Right.
Your flyer was the foundation by which I designed my entire tour on. That tour, which the average chicken soup tour, the authors would sign around about 4,000 books on tour. I was able to sign over 10,900 books on that tour on the foundation of what you gave me.
Right.
I created a foundation of a tour from the foundation that you gave me, and I've given it to well over 500,000 people. So, brother, your work goes far and wide. Thank you.
No, thank you. You not only took a piece of advice, Lisa, because this is what I think I told you this a long time ago, and you made it better. You trumped, right, what I thought was the trump card. You trumped that. Maybe I don't want to use that word, right? But you made it.
I just put a little turbo on it.
All right. You made it better. And I'm so proud of you, still proud of you. You're still out here. You charted a good and righteous course. You stayed that course.
And you said, stay the course. You've always told me to stay the course. Okay, I will.
You stayed the course. And you did the work. Someone asked me a question on Tuesday on my podcast, Dr. Fraser, what is the single most important reason why people don't succeed in business? And you know what I said to him? It's very simple. As an elder, 75 years old, and having interacted and committed to my community for 40 years, there's a single reason. Most people won't do the work. They simply won't do the work. They will not work hard enough to get there, because they're going to make mistakes and they're going to stumble, they're going to fall, they got to get back up, they got to read more, they got to do more, they got to ask questions, they got to get guidance, got to make that guidance better. You did all of that. You did the work then, and you're still doing the damn work, right? And that's remarkable. And I think that's the key to your success. Your work ethic is a beast. No one will ever outwork you. And therefore your success throughout the rest of your life is guaranteed. I just can't see you doing any less than what you're doing now. So God bless you.
I heard Will Smith say years ago, I'm gonna die on the treadmill. I said, well, I'm gonna be on the one right beside him then.
Right. Lisa is joining us, everybody, from the Bahamas, the Caribbean. And before we went live, she moved the camera and showed us a picture from her room of the view that she has every day when she is spending her time in the Bahamas. I affectionately call her now Stella, but that's a whole nother story. But it's a fabulous view.
We're starting rumors.
No, it's a fabulous view.
We're starting rumors.
You know what I want to do? You have some awesome quotes out here. In fact, there's something on the internet on 25 quotes from Lisa Nichols that could change
my life. Okay.
I don't gather them all up, but they're awesome. And so I want you to do us a personal favor and unpack some of those for all of the brothers and sisters who are listening. I want you to unpack. This is one of many that I like, but I want you to, let's start with this.
Sure, I love it.
And the quote is, change the conversation in your head. Help us understand that. Unpack that.
Yes. So your life is a physical manifestation of the conversation that's going on in your head. Whatever you think to be true is actually true. No matter how true it is, naturally, it's going to be true for you. We will work really hard to make the conversation going on in our head true. If you say, I can't trust anybody, 7 people throughout the week can follow through for you, but let one person not follow through and you'll say, see, I told you. If you say, as a woman, there are no good men, then you'll never look for your man in a castle. You'll look for your man in a doghouse because you want to have the truth be said. There are no good men. So mind the conversation going on in your head, because that directs your action. Energy grows where energy goes. You're going to show up consciously and unconsciously to make whatever conversation that you're having inside your head true. So mind your conversation. Your life is a physical manifestation. It's a physical example of the conversation that you're having in your head. Don't try to change your life. Change your conversation. Because when you change your conversation, it will direct new actions. When you have new actions, you'll have a new life. So don't try to change your life. Mind your mind. Change your mental zip code, and the rest of your life has to follow.
Mm-hmm. So as a man thinketh, so is he, right?
It is true every single time.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a tip or two around how you begin the process of changing that conversation? How did you do that, right? Welfare, public assistance, poor, but you obviously, now you're a manifestation of this idea. How did you do it? How did you make that leap from your state of mind to this incredible state of mind that you infect and effect and affect so many people?
Well, first, let me start by saying, I don't want anyone to give me a pass, well, she's extraordinary or she's exceptional. So I am functionally dyslexic. And I don't say that as a label or as for anyone to feel sorry for me. It is my superpower. I'm functionally dyslexic, which means by nature, when I read, I have to read things 2 or 3 times just to make sure I got it, because my mind wants to reverse engineer it all the time. It's just, it's one of my, I call it my superpower. But at one point, it really felt like my, so I have that. And I'm an auditory learner, so I learn better when I hear. So when I read, it's hard to get. Financially, I didn't know about money. It's not that we didn't have money. We didn't have money and we didn't talk about money. So I had 0 relationship to money. It wasn't spoken about, and there was never enough of it. So I don't come from a space where learning was easy, resources were easy. But what I did was, first, I was willing to expose my lies. So we're all living with a bunch of lies that we've made our truth. So the lie that says I'm not good enough, the lie that says I'm not pretty enough, the lie that says my mocha skin, full lips, round hips, and kinky hair, I can't have financial abundance. I can't be on stages next to Tony Robbins and next to Les Brown and next to Jack Canfield and next to whomever. All the lies that said I can't come from South Central LA, be on government's assistance, and move to a beautiful home in Nassau, Bahamas. I can't have that. So all the lies, the first thing I did was I was willing to expose my lies. Most people won't do that because you want to jump from where you are to bliss. Well, it's a journey. You know, you gotta be willing to do the work, like you said. And so number one, I exposed the internal conversation that was keeping me in my mental, emotional, physical, and financial current state. That was the first thing, as I was willing to expose that. It didn't mean I was bad. It didn't mean I was a loser. I didn't make where I was mean who I was. I'll say that again. I didn't make where I was mean who I was. So I exposed it. I looked at it. And then I pulled out anything that felt like it was a lie, or the majority of it was a lie. All the things I was telling myself. So then I said, okay, well, if that's not the truth, what is the truth? Because I got to find the truth. Your mind is always searching for the truth. So here I am. I started with, I'm dyslexic. I started with that for a reason. Because to read a book, George, for me to read a book, it would take 90 days to finish the book and understand the book. No one knew that. No one knew that. No, all these years, no one knew that. To this day, I don't write books. I recite books. So I'm an orator. So I speak my books, have someone else transcribe it, and then I review it to make sure it's right. Because if I have to write it, oh my God, it takes years to get it out based on who I am, where I am, and how I'm made up. So number one, I made who I am okay. So then I begin to pick up books. And the first book I picked up was Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I got to tell you, it took me 6 months to get to the end of the book. And to this day, I understand about 35% of the book. But the 35% I understood, I applied.
Yeah.
I applied. And so I wasn't a book collector. It took too much for me to get to the end of the book. But what I was a book implementer. I would read the books and highlight them in yellow. Let's say I would highlight in yellow first, Brother Bedford. And then the second time I'd highlight it in pink. Then the third time I'd highlight it in green. Then the fourth time I'd highlight it in blue. See, I read the books, I picked them apart. By the time I showed you my book that I read from you, you'll be like, what were you doing? I'm studying the book, not reading the book. And then as I read each chapter, I would write down, based on what you just learned in that chapter, what can you do real time to show you now know something new? See, most of us are information junkies. I'm an application junkie. I love applying. So I will tell people in a minute, slow down, hold on, let me go do something based on what I just learned. Let me go do something. So I apply intellect to action, intellect to action, intellect to action. Joan Baez says that the antidote for despair is action. Lisa Nichols adds that the prescription for success is action. How is it that one word, one verb can be the solution to your problem and the access to your desires? It's because it's a powerful word that can change the game, and that's action. The difference between me and most is that as I was growing, I remained the consummate student. And I held myself accountable to be in a certain amount of consistent, keyword, consistent action. The third thing was that I was willing, get this, I was willing to become familiar with discomfort. That right there. See, most people, and I don't know if this is in one of the quotes, but I love saying this, that most people are more committed to a familiar discomfort than they are to an unfamiliar new possibility. I'll say that again. Key word is familiar and unfamiliar. Most people are more committed to a familiar discomfort than they are to an unfamiliar new possibility. See, I was committed to the unfamiliar. That says a lot because you're living inside of a cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is when your mind is in constant disruption because where you say you are and where you see yourself to be is not congruent with where you actually are. So your mind is constantly saying, get moving. Because if that's who you see yourself to be, we got to get up early. We got to go to bed late. And so my mind, though I was at peace with who I am, my mind always required me to keep going to the person I saw myself to be. And so, and you're not born with it. So it's not like, oh, that's just Lisa. I won't let people let themselves off the hook by saying, that's just you, Lisa. No. I'm not extraordinary. I'm an ordinary woman, George, who chose every day to make 1, 2, 3, or 5 extraordinary decisions. And because I made enough extraordinary decisions, enough times a day, enough days in the week, and enough weeks in the year, my life began to look extraordinary. But I'm ordinary. I'm ordinary. I'm ordinary choosing every day. I get tired. I get frustrated. I get sleepy. I wonder what's going to happen. I miss my mother. I'm stuck at home like everybody else. I'm doing it like everyone else. It's just, what do I choose to do with my hours? And so, so that's some of the things that I did. But I came at it as a student. I came at it hungry. I came at it humble. I never had anything to prove to anybody. I just wanted to learn and grow.
Yeah. It was Einstein. It's one of my favorite sayings by Einstein. It's not that I'm so smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer. Right. And that's
that right there. Yeah.
You stay with it. You get a base and you build on that base and you keep building on it and building on it and making it better and constant never-ending improvement, and you are changing the conversation in your head. You're really talking to you through the actions that you're taking. You're modeling the behavior that you want from Lisa Nichols, right? Each time you model it, each time you teach it, each time you say it, you become it, right? That's a powerful, that's powerful, Lisa, powerful. Let me let me ask you this question. You also say, it's one of your famous quotes, it's not enough to want a better life. You just ended right there. And let me tell you what I like about your quotes.
What'd you say?
I want to tell you what I like about your quotes. A, they're provocative, and they are incomplete. You say things so that people who read it complete your sentence.
Yes.
That's very slick. That's very smart. Right? It's a really, really good way of forcing people to extract something out of what you said and apply it to their own personal situation and make it come alive. So unpack for us. It's not enough to want a better life.
Yeah, you got to be an active player in your own breakthrough. You got to, want is wishful thinking. Want is the desire of. You haven't done anything yet. It's not enough to want it. It's not enough to talk about. I'm blown away when everyone's on social media saying, I want this, I want that. Well, why are you so busy telling me? Show me that you want it. Show me that you're hungry about it. Let the evidence scream so loudly that you never have to open your mouth. It's not enough to want. It's not enough to say I'd like. It's not enough to wish. It's not enough to have a desire. Desire, want, and wish plus application consistently and a strong dose of get back up. Because if you play big enough, you're going to have breakdowns. Matter of fact, the bigger you play, the bigger your breakdowns. As a matter of fact, if you're not having breakdowns in your life, you're not playing big enough. So it's not enough to want and to be in action. You got to want, be in action, and flex your get up muscle, your faith muscle, your resiliency muscle, your determination muscle. We all want to have, so many times people want to have all these attributes, and yet you realize that you get them in action. I love it when my students tell me when they step on my campus in one of my programs, they say, Coach Lisa, for clarity before I take action. And I say, and clarity is waiting on you to get in action so it can come. See, everybody's waiting. I'm just going to wait till I get clear. Well, there's no clarity in stagnation. There's just stagnation in stagnation. But clarity is waiting on action. Clarity chases action. You take one step, you either step into something good or you step into something bad, clean off your shoe and step in the other direction. Either way, action is required. And so wanting isn't enough. Wanting is wishful thinking. Wanting is like what making the Christmas list and sending it to Santa in the South Pole. We know what really happens. There is no South Pole. There is no Santa. There's a mother, there's a father working hard, going to the store, using their savings and buying something. So just like that, you got to do the work. And so when wanting and wishing and desiring by itself is going to set you up for a life unfulfilled. Get in radical action. And as a matter of fact, you don't have to have clarity completely on what you want. Just move in the direction of what feels good. And clarity will open itself up because you're moving in the direction of what feels good. I didn't know that I would be this woman today. There's no way you could have told me that this woman was on her way. I knew the zip code, George. I knew who I desired to be. I was 25 years old. I was in Spokane, Washington, and I was reading the chapter in Stephen Covey's book that said, if you die today, what will 4 people say about you at your funeral? What will a family member say? What will a community member say? What will a colleague in business say? And what would a sibling say? What kind of mother were you? What kind of sister were you? At the time, I didn't have any children. I was just designing, just figuring it. I was just kind of floating along. And I'd never forget, I was so afraid that if that plane crashed on the way home from Spokane, Washington, back to California, that I would not have lived the life that I wanted to be told about me. He goes on to say in that chapter that you are to live a life like you're writing your eulogy. For some reason, that didn't scare me. People don't want to talk about your obituary or eulogy. Well, your life is writing. That didn't scare me. It put a fire under my belt. I said, hold on. I am literally designing the story about my life that I want to be told. That right there. And so when you hold the fact that you're designing, what do you want to be said? Don't leave it to chance. Live the life and then know what's going to happen. And so that I want is followed by I will, is followed by I did, I got up and I did again. That's followed by it's done. Next.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. One final from your quote, and I have some questions that I've developed for you. Your quote, how to make some killer life-changing goals. Killer life-changing.
Yeah. You froze a little bit. Brother Bedford, did it freeze on you?
No, you're good, Linda.
Uh,
Lisa?
okay.
Lisa, you're good. George
Okay.
froze.
Okay. I want to make sure how to make some killer life goals. That's right. Okay. Right. So you got to watch out about goals because goals oftentimes, and I love goals, but I've learned how to set goals so that they're kind, they're generous, they're forward moving, they require the best out of me. So I learned early on that, and we'll just keep talking until my brother comes back, right?
Yes.
I learned early on that a lot of times we set up is in context. The dates were too soon, was too big. And that I could hit the goal, but to be more gracious with myself in the goal. And so I set up goals. Now I go out 5 years because I can do anything in 5 years. So now I don't set 6-month goals. I set 5-year goals, and then I reverse engineer them back to 6 months. And let me tell you another reason why I did that, because I read a book. I can't remember the name of the book, but man, this man totally frustrated me. He made me mad. He said, wealthy people plan 5 and 10 years out, while broke people plan 30 days out.
Mm-hmm.
Push my buttons, pissed me off, made me mad. But I realized that he pushed my buttons because I was planning out 30 days, 90 days, 6 months. And so I began to plan out further. So plan out 5 years, then come back to 3 years, then come back to 2 years, then come back to a year, then come back to 6 months. And when I do that, I don't sweat the small stuff, because when you're planning 5 years out, you're going to plan big. You're going to plan big. When you're planning 12 months out, you can only plan so big. And then when you start making that plan an action step, you'll find that you won't get caught up in, I just don't get caught up in the small stuff, because I'm always thinking out, I'm planning, right now I'm in 2023, I'm in 2024, and a lot of it changes. But if you fail to plan, then you just plan to fail. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard that, I really believed it. And I thought, okay, let me have a plan. And over the years, the plan becomes, because I believe that if you don't create an agenda to work off of, they don't automatically start working on someone else's agenda for them. So either you're going to work on your agenda, or you're going to work on my agenda, or you're going to work on someone else's agenda. So I always create my own agenda, my own plan that I want to work on. Technology is wonderful. Technology is amazing. Technology is awesome when it works. Believe me, I spend enough time. I spend enough time on live stream on Facebook. I'm doing an inspirational Facebook every morning over the next 30 days. So I'm having technology issues and opportunities every single day. So I totally get it. So you want me to keep going, and I can keep going until he comes back.
Can you still hear me, right?
I can still hear you fine.
Okay, great.
I can still hear you fine.
Yeah, let me just, I know George wanted to ask you a few questions, and until he gets back on, let me just ask you rather quickly, what are you doing in this time of quarantine? What advice would you give people? I know I made that statement earlier about turning this into an incubation period, but what are you telling people who are kind of anxious and nervous about the time that we're living in?
Yeah. So number one, I don't want to minimize what's happening. I think that we should be health conscious, but not health fear based. So, hey, welcome back, brother.
I think my internet went down.
No, that's okay.
Sorry.
It's happening
I
everywhere.
apologize. But that's why we have a co-host, right? Did I just disappear?
Yeah, actually it froze first, and then you went away, and we just filled in the space. And we know about technology. We gave the caveat that technology is amazing until it starts to act up, and then it drives us crazy.
All right, so you guys didn't miss a beat?
No, we didn't. Look, you got pros on your hand. We all right.
All right. Yeah, I suspected that we were going to have a couple of issues with you offshore, right? And that the internet would be a little slow offshore. So, but actually, it was my setup that broke down, right?
Good over here. I had a few requirements. I had a few requirements to this house. One was we need a roof, and I need to make sure that whatever tornado or whatever tsunami that my house can sustain that's number one. And then number two, a sister needs her internet.
Right.
So I can move to an island if I want to, but I don't need to be on the island by myself. I need to be able to connect. So yeah, we're all good. Knock on wood. We're all good over here on the internet. And Brother Bedford, to answer your question, you asked what advice was I giving people during this time? And the advice that I'm giving people during this time is, while we're being health conscious and while we're being safety aware, fear and anxiety are not a spiritual practice. And so to be mindful that you are investing in safety, but you're not investing in fear-based conversation, scarcity-based conversation, worry-based conversation, that it causes your energy field and your creativityness, it causes everything that works on your behalf to contract. That expansiveness is in a space of faith. And then the second thing that I've been saying quite consistently is, please don't miss the gift that may have come wrapped in sandpaper. Please don't miss the gift that may have come wrapped in sandpaper. The conditions, the virus, the situation is the sandpaper. But what's your gift? Is your gift more spaciousness in time? Is your gift more presence with your family? Is your gift more time to create your next way of service to the world? Is the gift the opportunity to pivot and to find your resourcefulness because the regular chain of action is not okay right now? What's the gift that came wrapped in sandpaper? Don't just stop at the sandpaper. Go get your gift. And so just to answer your question before my brother George came back on, that's what I'm telling everyone as often as I can.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. George, you can pick back up where you were with your questioning that you were getting ready to go into.
I apologize, but
no need.
The internet is wonderful when it works. No question about that. If you could wave a magic wand at this moment in time and solve, let us say, one business headache forever, what would it be?
Oh, I love it. And how naughty of you to just let me solve one. One.
But you just get just one.
Right.
So which one would you solve? What would it be?
I would solve the problem of, Of course, I'm going to solve an entrepreneur's problem because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. Um, I would I would wave the magic. Hold on, I think I have one. Hold on. I would wave the wand. This is the magic wand. I would wave the wand to eliminate. I would wave the wand and act on the other side of it. Entrepreneurs would know all of the two things, the research and development that needs to be done before they throw all of their life savings into a business. They would be aware of the need to research and develop and network. They wouldn't do it too fast and they wouldn't try to do it by themselves. So they would be better researchers and no longer lone rangers. So they would invest in the brain before they spend their life savings. They would build their skill set before they measure themselves against a George Fraser or a Brother Bedford or a Lisa Nichols. They would build their skill set before they compare and then be without comparison.
Lisa, how do you handle being outside of your comfort zone? You are always walking on the edge.
Yeah.
But of course, that's where life is. Life is on the edge. How do you handle that? Being outside of your comfort zone. What advice would you give people in dealing with that?
So first of all, I would love to eliminate the myth that I don't get nervous and I don't have moments where I get fear storms. Because I'm on the edge. Right now, I'm on the edge. Right now, I'm in consistent discussions with Hollywood about producing the Lisa Nichols life story from welfare to Wall Street. So I can feel the jitters, constantly feeling the jitters. And you're right, I find that edge because if you're not on the edge, you're inside of complacency. That's number one. But my relationship to fear, I've changed it over the years, George. So fear has lived with me. It bumps in my room. It climbs onto the plane with me. It walks onto the stage with me. It picks up the pen and writes with fear. It's just there. So, but my relationship to fear is that it's my roommate. It's not my opposition. So fear has no power with me. It's just there. So it's my indicator that I'm playing big. It's my indicator that I need to go seek counsel. Like when I called you, I was afraid back in 2004. I never forget, I was crying in Cracker Barrel. I was crying in Cracker Barrel with my spiritual mentor saying, I just got the contract to write Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. If I don't do this right, I'm gonna piss off a whole lot of Black people at one time. I'll never forget. That was such a fear of mine. What did I do next? I flew back to California. I found a phone number. So fear is not there to stop you. The myth is that fear is there. Fear might say slow down. Fear might say go seek counsel. Fear might say do some research, but fear never says stop on your dream. So yeah, I'm on the edge, but I've become, and I have this feeling that I'm always living in, but I've become comfortable in the dance of the fast heartbeat. I respond to it. I ask myself, what do you need to slow the heartbeat down? Oh, I need to go seek counsel. Oh, I need to study. Oh, I need to do my R&D. Oh, I need to slow down. So my relationship to the feeling of being on the edge has modified over the years. I've modified it because I want to stay on the edge. And so I am not without fear. I simply have embraced my fear, and it's not an indicator not to move forward for me. It's just an indicator to move forward with consciousness and awareness.
Okay. You answered a question that I was going to ask, and that is to tell us the story of a fear that you overcame. So you already answered that. Where are you right now, Lisa, in your business journey? What's next for you?
Wow. So, so my business journey has not been my focus for the last year. While in the last year, I've doubled my numbers. I've done some really amazing things that I'm excited about. Um, but 5 years ago, I took my company public. You were there. And I found out a year and a half after I took my company public, and I haven't talked about this publicly a whole lot, that the consultant that I entrusted my word, my business that I built for 20 years nearly, my students, was a fraud. And everything he touched, he stayed in the company. And I'd never had a public stand. And George, recouping from that financially was going to be the easier of the two. It was the emotional part that I had to really climb out of, that people had trusted me and I had trusted them, and and something happened. I didn't see where I had picked wrong. I didn't see any signs, so I stopped trusting for a moment my picker. I stopped trusting my picker. And I could see it instantly because I live in the work of being present to me. And so I started this journey. My attorney said it was going to take me 18 months and $500,000 to fix it. It actually took me 3.5 years and $1.8 million to fix it. That was just the money. I needed to trust myself again. And so I put my head down, which you will notice in the last 3 years, you hadn't heard a lot from me. And I put my head down because I couldn't pick my head up and tell anybody about a battle that I was still in. I needed to pick my faith back up. And not my faith in God, that never wavered, but my faith in Lisa's picker. My faith in trusting again. That I had to constantly, and over the last 3 years, I've constantly told myself, you were betrayed, but don't make your next business partner pay for your last business partner. So I had to constantly process myself so that a whole me can walk out of this. So I was taking care of my heart and my head while I was in battle. George, when I tell you, I found a way to increase my profit margin. I found a way to streamline my product line. I found a way to scale my product so that it was unlimited participants in it. When I tell you, a woman with a heart and soul who was a good businesswoman went into that battle, but a bad CEO came out. And so what I've been doing is I restored my company 18 months ago so that it had zero debt. And then I restored my faith in my picker and my decision maker in the last 18 months to know that I was on the right path. And then outside of that, I just began to take care of me as a woman, which is why I'm here in the Bahamas. I began to understand that harmony is a must. Balance is a myth, but harmony is a must. I will never relax as much as I work. There's not enough hours in the day. I love what I'm doing, but I can create harmony. And harmony isn't something that I'm going to Google download. And harmony isn't something that I get to seek when I'm 80. And harmony isn't something that's for others and not for me. And harmony doesn't come after I've achieved the goal. Harmony is for me to go get right now. And so I spent the last 18 months opening up my heart, allowing myself to see myself in relationship, in love. I could see love for me and everyone else. I just didn't do romantic love for me. I felt like I was so busy doing this other stuff. And so I began to invest in my body more, invest in my spirituality more. And you go through something that grinds you down to the cold, and you got to pull up everything. I had to pull up making the money part. That was just strategy. I had to pull up my faith. I had to pull up my resiliency. I had to start taking my protein shakes and working out. I needed to pull everything out. And so where I'm going now is I'm committed to 2 lanes. I'm committed to teaching people personal mastery, how to master your brain, how to use more of your brain, how to unhook the hostage that your brain is being held to old belief systems, how to turn ordinary into your version of extraordinary. It's not a myth. It's not something that's on layaway. It's not just for those people over there who look like that. That extraordinary and abundance is our birthright, but it requires a systematic application. There is a key to it. There is a pattern that successful people follow. Abundant people follow a pattern. You will do it like you, but there is a pattern. I don't care. You can have 15 different types of bikes. You still pedal, like you pedal, right? And so I want to show people how to have personal mastery in their personal lives, because when they do that, then who you are in business shows up more effectively. I want to liberate as many Black folk as possible to have an abundant mentality, because you might not leave your children a lot of money. You may not have a business, but if you can help change a mindset, if you can shift them to an abundant mindset, then you don't know what you've unleashed. You have no idea what you've unleashed. I'll give you one example. When Jelani was young, I used to say, we can't afford that. Because I grew up with the statement, we can't afford that. And then someone taught me to use a different statement. They said, instead of saying we can't afford that, Lisa, why don't you tell your son that's not a financial priority? So from the time Jelani was 8 years old, he would ask me for something, and I say, that's not a financial priority in our house. When Jelani was 13 years old, George, I heard it all come back to me. He's sitting in the back seat of the car. His friend says, Jelani, you gonna get the Xbox 360, the new Xbox? He said, oh man, I'm sure that's not a financial priority in my house. Mm. The mindset. Jelani can't ever remember hearing, we can't afford that. All he knows, now he's married. He just celebrated his 1-year anniversary last week. And his wife wanted to get a new something. And he called me and said, Mom, what's the best way to tell my wife that this thing she wants to get is not a financial priority in our house right now? Mom, how do you recommend I say that? That is the freeing of a mind. And so that's the journey I'm on right now, George, freeing our minds.
I want to get to some questions. I don't know, Brother Bedford, do we have some questions? Have we aggregated some questions? And I ask you one final question myself. Keep it brief. What useful advice would you offer your 15-year-old self to pave the way for your future? What useful advice would you offer your 15-year-old self to pave the way for your future?
I'd give her, first I'd sit her down and I'd hold her while I was talking to her. I'd ask her, can I hold her so she can feel the warmth, so she can feel safety? So that I can, you done got me. So that I could tell her.
I just did my Oprah thing on
you. Yeah. So that I could tell her that when she feels alone in the future years to come, because she will feel alone, because she actually will be alone, that her feeling alone is not bad or a misfortune. They're parts of her journey that she's going to have to take alone, so that she begins to embrace being with herself by herself and to not feel as if she's abandoned or lonely or without. I would then tell her, number two, I would tell her that no matter what happens through the course of your day, you woke up enough. I would then tell her, number three, relationships will come and they will go because everyone doesn't deserve to fit in your senior years. Number four, I would tell her that man's rejection is God's protection. Embrace your no's. Celebrate your no's. And finally, I would tell her that whatever calls you pick up, little Lisa, make sure you don't put down your relationships to hold it. Call your grandmother, call your mother, call your brother, call your cousins. No matter, I would tell her they're gonna write a lot about you, Lisa. They're gonna say a lot about you. Don't believe the press. Don't ever think you're too important and so important that you can't make those calls. Don't sit down relationships to pick up purpose. That's what I would.
Brother Bedford, you have a question?
Yes, George, we have a couple questions. Lisa, someone wants to know, and this is our dear friend Cheryl Woods. She'd like
Hey,
to know.
Cheryl, that's my friend as well. Hold on. That's my girl. Hey, baby.
Cheryl wants to know, how should speakers best leverage their current time?
Yeah, absolutely. I love you, Cheryl. So number one, I believe that business grows from serving a need. And all businesses, Cheryl, and I've said this to you in the past, and right now it's so relevant, that businesses are built by eliminating a pain or helping a desire to be born. Only two reasons. Businesses grow because they eliminate a pain or they help a desire to be born. Not every business, Cheryl, can do both. But as a speaker, depending on your topic, some speakers can do both. I happen to know you, so I know you can do both. I'm going to invite you to laser on one and then laser on the other so that it can be very clear what you're doing. So right now, leverage it by growing your brand. You may not monetize it now, but one of the things that I was accidentally smart enough to do, let me say that, accidentally smart enough to do, was I built a lot of loyalty without expecting the conversion rate in the moment. And then I began to convert later after I've had loyalty. I know I've mentioned this to you before. And so right now, you're in the climate of building more loyalty, building more brand, building more whatever. So you can invite people to follow you, invite people to learn from you, and find a way to serve them, to eliminate their pain. What's the pain right now? Disconnection. What's the pain right now? The fear of stagnation. What's the pain right now? I don't feel like I'm in control. What's the pain right now? I have frustration. What's the pain right now? Family, not know what to do with my family. What identify all the things that could be or that are a pain right now. Or ask your community. What I do is every program you see me, and I know you've been on my campus for a while, every program that I've created came from my students. What's your pain right now? What's your pain right now? How can I support that pain? Ask them. Don't be afraid. Don't think the word expert really is true. You're not the expert. You're not the expert. George is not the expert. Brother Bradford, we're not the expert. Your client is the expert. Your prospective client is the expert. Why? Because they know their pains and they know their desires far better than you. And so ask them, what's your pain point right now that you want me to help you solve? What's your desire right now that you want me to help you get to? And listen to them. And so if you want to seem super related, ask the questions and say, if I create this, will you jump in? And listen to them, take notes, feed it back to them. Hey, I'm going to get you guys on Zoom. Everyone who answered the question, jump with me on Zoom. I'm going to read back to you what I believe I heard you to say. Question for a week, question for 2 weeks. And then read back to them and say, is this what you said? Okay, great. I'm going to create this for you right now. I'm going to go out of my standard catalog and I'm going to create this for you right now. And then create it for them. And then have a small monetary exchange. Maybe small, just so they're invested. And tell them, I'm going to have you invest in it. I'm going to have you pay. Why? As much as I don't want you to pay, I want to give it to you. If you pay, you'll show up for you. If you pay, you're more likely to show up for you. Because I know that when I give it away free, there's 75% don't show up. And I don't want to waste my time. I'm going to create this for you, and I need you to show up. So if there's going to be an investment, the value is this. The investment is here. And use that right now. So use it as a dialogue. Make the selling process a dialogue, not a monologue. Make it based in service. You asked for, I'm giving you. So if you still need to ask them, what are they asking for? Ask them. And then turn around and serve it up to them. Watch me. I don't know, Cheryl, if you're watching me, I'm doing the 30 thing every morning. Watch me and then watch the end. I do a dignified offer. We'll just watch. And think of it as a dignified offer. I'm going to honor the humanity in you. I'm going to give you an opportunity. My job, say this 1,000 times, Cheryl, just use it. My job is to give you access. Your job is to choose. I'm just doing my part.
Powerful.
Dignified offer.
Powerful. We have broken our promise to you. We promised you a tight hour. We're already 7 minutes over the hour. We could sit here and talk all night. You are not only compelling, but powerfully informative, and you do it out of your heart. You do it out of love. You just pour into us, and you know that is very generous. Very, very, very generous. So I want to, is there just a closing thought, a closing remark, Lisa, that you'd like to make to this massive audience? Is probably at the end of the day, it's probably 20,000 views is going to be seen of this. If I got 10,000 views, you're going to get 3 times that. So is there just a closing thought, closing meditation, a closing prayer, whatever you want to close out your time with us and your share?
First of all, I want to start with saying that I love you. I love you in the most agape way possible. I love what you stand for. I love what you live for. I love the legacy that you are creating in your life. You are a living legacy. And I'm grateful for your existence. And I'm honored to be on the planet at the same time as you. That makes it exciting. I did something at Agape a few weeks ago, and the concept was if you take your ordinary and you put just a little extra on it, and you add some extra to your ordinary, you'll touch your extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And I'm just fascinated that ordinary and extra can be touched, and that it makes extraordinary. And so I'll leave you with this. Don't spend another day writing your life story. Spend the rest of your life writing your legacy story. Mm. That inspire your grandchildren's children by the choices you make today. Not in your perfection, but in your imperfection. Mm. Let's continue to celebrate in our imperfection as we write a legacy and we write a life story worth sharing. I love you. I appreciate you. I value you.
God bless you, my dear. On Tuesday, we made an offer on the Power Networking Conference, and we said that we were going to limit the number of the special offer for each of the 30 podcasts that we have. And we had a limited number. We went almost 3 times over that number. So 2/3 of those people, and I made this clear, we said we would not honor the offer because we're over the limit because it was first come, first served, but you could try again on the second podcast, which was with Lisa Nichols. So I want to represent that order to you, that offer to you again. And as you know, the conference is in Houston, July 8th through the 11th. It is our prayer that it will go off as planned. We have no intention of canceling it by any stretch of the imagination, but God works in mysterious ways. We don't know what's going to happen as this whole COVID-19 thing unfolds. So we'll have a much better idea by the end of April, but right now we're staying in Houston, July 8th through the 11th. If we have to move it, we'll move it, but it will be this year. There will be a 2020 19th anniversary Power Networking Conference. So the offer is again limited in time and number. Whatever we receive by midnight, that's what it is. If we reach the limit before midnight, you can still do your thing. You'll get a notification from us. I hope you were not one of those. But this is the offer. You get a full adult registration, which if you go on the site, it's $1,495. If you met one person that could change the trajectory of your life, would that be worth $1,495? Hell to the yes, it would be worth it. And there are endless numbers of people who have come to the Power Networking Conference, couldn't explain and say you just have to be there, but it has changed our life. So a full adult registration. And then of course, we encourage that you bring a young person with you. We should be conventioning and conferencing with our young people sitting at the feet of masters. That's what they should be. It should be the collective and combination of Generation X, Y, Z, and Generation Alpha, the children of the millennials, and the baby boomers. I'm the oldest of the baby boomer at 75. The youngest of the baby boomers are 55. All right. So you should bring a young person. If you look at our student registration, it's $795. So it's about half of what it is for an adult. We're going to give you a student registration and an adult registration, which is typically $2,300. We're going to reduce it to $399. We're going to take $1,900 off. That's why so many people went crazy on Tuesday. So you have a limited time. It's very simple to execute. You have to email me at gfraser@frasernet.com. gfraser@frasernet.com. We've already gotten 10 because a little thing pops up on my screen. gfraser@frasernet.com. Say I'm in. Put your name and cell number, and we will contact you and close the deal. That's what we're going to do. So if you're out there and we didn't honor your request on Tuesday, this is the time to do it. Act on it now before the limit is reached, and you'll have to try again when Les Brown is on next Tuesday. Okay? So that's the offer. And I can't say how much this has meant to me, how magnificent your ideas, your spirit, your passion. You are as effective on screen. This is why they're going to make a movie about you. This is why Oprah will you. This is why you're on all the television programs. You're as effective on screen, Lisa, as you are live. Your spirit sort of jumps out at us and touches us, and you do it out of love. You are deeply committed to our people and to the world. to the world of people. And we love you for that.
Mm,
And you are just getting started, baby.
mm,
Your
mm.
best years are ahead of you.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
the New England Journal of Medicine just did a major study, darling, on the three most productive periods of our life. Look it up on Google. The
Okay.
number one most productive period of your life is between 60 and 70. The number
Wow.
two most productive period of your life is between 70 and 80. I'm 75. This is the most productive period of my life. The number three most productive period of your life is between 50 and 60, right?
Wow.
So
I got 30 years of productivity.
zero, 0 to 50, you're
That's right.
just practicing,
That's right.
right? You're just practicing, baby. Your best stuff is in front of you, and you have the love, and you have the work ethic, and you have the spirit to hang in there and to do it. And we love you for it. Thank you so much for your time.
I love you.
Thank you
I love
for
you.
your commitment to the world, and especially to our people, and for sharing unconditionally
Yeah.
and freely. And we love
Thank
you.
you for thank you for pouring
Brother
into me.
Bedford, you have any closing thoughts, any closing words?
Well, as always, I want to thank Lisa. You just water our souls. I mean, the comments, everyone is just saying you're the best. You water our souls. You always feed us and nourish us. And so I'm just honored to know you, sis. The spirit and energy that George spoke about earlier, you displayed that to me, what, almost 10 years ago when we first had our encounter. So you've
Yeah.
always been this way, and we just want to continue to thank you for continuing to pour into us the way that you do. Just two things I just want to say. Obviously, you gave some very profound instructions earlier about how you study. And so I think it's critically important for people to study this video. You need to study what Lisa shared. You need to highlight it. You need to get it transcribed. You need to make sure that you tear it apart because it's pregnant. It's
Yeah.
pregnant with wisdom that you've shared with us. And so we want to make sure that you can have access to that. Just go to newblackpower.com, enter your information. I'll make sure that everyone has access to this video to watch it over and over and over again and extract the nuggets that Lisa shared with us. And the last thing I want to ask Lisa, how can they reach you? How can they
Ah,
contact you?
well, I'm so grateful. My website is Motivating the Masses. So motivatingthemasses.com. That's where you can find me and find out what we have coming up. We have some very exciting things coming up. I'm gonna definitely point folk over to George. We have a couple of things happening right before then online. And then you can follow me on Facebook, obviously Lisa Nichols fan page, where I'm doing just a 15-minute daily inspiration for the next 30 days. We're calling it Courageous and Delicious Dialogue, just to feed ourselves a diet of possibility. So if there's value, I would love to always be of service. I hold it as an honor to stand beside servant leaders and to be able to serve, not only in this time, but when everything is swinging in an uproar of abundance, to serve then as well. So I'm grateful for your acknowledgement. I'm grateful for your time. George, every time I hear you say that I'm passionate about learning, I can feel it in my soul because I want to jump and go. I am. I know that I had to come through the pressure that a cold experiences to find the diamond in myself.
Mm.
And I think like you and Brother Becker, you want to reach back and you want to help everyone like the Sherwoods who are already doing amazing things and all the other amazing people. You want to help them find their own light and their own diamond because we all are diamonds. And so thank you for the acknowledgement. I don't think I ever hear it and it stops. I stop feeling my chest expand of gratitude that this is who I get to be. This is who I've chosen to become on my journey to who I'm becoming, right? Because there's more. per George, I just started doing my best work. Amen. So I'm honored. I'm honored to be in the same, just in the same zip code with you. And if for anyone who's questioning, who's wondering the value of the conference, I will tell you firsthand. George opened with, I've spoken at more conferences than anyone as a woman coming back. But the reality is, I would come back if I wasn't speaking so that I could learn and I could be connected. It was at the Fraser Net conference. I remember I stood in the back of the room at my first conference, and you were doing the auction, and you were auctioning off some serious people, like time with some serious movers and shakers. I mean, auction off full of days with like Queen Latifah and
we auctioned Stedman and Oprah one year.
Yeah. Like auction off some serious people. Can I tell y'all, I have never wanted to be on an auction block like that in my life. I was like, I can't wait to get to the auction block. I was like, auction me, because it said something. And watching these people and one of the first people that won an auction with me when I was on the block was your beautiful sister. And so,
we did well. We did very well. And all of our auction money, if you remember, goes for student scholarships, right?
It was good. It was for a good reason. It was with good people. It was good outcome. It was just good all around. So listen, if you're wondering, should you go? I'm wondering why you're wondering. So George, let's find reasons to play together and call it work. Brother Bedford, I honor you. I celebrate you. I am in my harmony, so I appreciate your time. I'm gonna go and spend family time. I think I'm supposed to be playing Uno in a few.
Amen. Let me just say remind folks who, because on the Power Networking Conference, as it stands right now, we are ahead of our projections. We typically sell out the conference about 2 months in advance. We're way ahead of those projections. So those of you who want to go beyond sort of the sampler from Costco kind of excellence, and be in the presence of greatness and brilliance, we have this opportunity for you. And so it's a major opportunity. Take advantage of it, and sign up for the conference now at that special offer. And we remind you, you have to email me at gfraser@frasernet.com. Just say I'm in, and make sure your name and your cell phone number's in it. We'll handle it tonight, and we'll go from there. But again, thank you, Brother Bedford, for the exquisite job you do in moderating this and keeping it moving. And of course, once again, to the very special, very beautiful, you are the epitome of the purpose of life. That's what you are. That's what I want to say. And the purpose of life is loving, giving, serving, and adding the highest value to somebody or something every minute of every day. And we love you. Good night, everybody.
I take all that. I'm aware of it all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, baby. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. I appreciate you.
All right.